Converted man here. So I did a response to Living in Dystopia, who then did a response to my response, and here's that response to the response of the response. All right, everyone caught up? Great, here we go. Okay, this is called Response to Deconverted Man. So, yeah, here we go.
So Deconverted Man made a response to my last video. He did not understand the argument I made in that video, but he did make some arguments and bring up some points that I want to address. So I'm making.
Now, if I didn't understand the argument, maybe your argument wasn't very good or well done. It's possible. Yeah, all right.
In response to him.
All right, here we go.
A book of fairy tales that also supports genital mutilation, slavery, and genocide.
Why do these atheists pick out those particular things, slavery and genocide?
We can't know the intentions of any individual, so I don't know.
We can't know the intentions of any individual. So when Smith buys a gun and then breaks into Jones's home.
Okay, so this is the beginning of the pandemic. Picky. Screw it. I don't know how to say words. The pickiness of him. Now, maybe I was picky in my video. Hey, yeah. Just because I'm picky doesn't mean I can't point out when someone else is being picky. Anyways, so this isn't a false claim. It is impossible to know the intentions. That is, to read the person's mind. That's what I mean by that. That's all I mean. When he first goes and buys the gun, we do not know what his intent is. All right. Then there's another step where he then breaks into somebody's house. You still do not know his intent at that time. Then he's pointing the gun at somebody. Now, you could infer that he's potentially going to do harm, or wants to do harm, or will do harm, or might do harm. But you don't really know his intent other than he is threatening that person, because you do not read his mind. You do not know what he is thinking. And once he pulls that trigger, well, that was a conscious decision to do something that results in the death of the other person. When you have collected all that data, you can then say, hey, look, he set out to go do this. Now, we don't know, from step one that he did, but we know after the fact, after collecting all the data. We cannot read his mind, though. We cannot say, well, he wanted to, it's like, well, no. But first degree murder, yeah, it's really hard to prove, because you are trying to show that. And this whole courtroom sort of analogy isn't within formal and informal logic, which has a much higher standard than I guess people are used to. So, but whenever, and I say we don't know the intent, all I really mean is we can't read people's minds. I guess I should just say that. Anyways.
And Smith's hand points the gun at Jones's chest, and Smith's finger pulls the trigger. Did Smith intend to murder Jones? We can't know. We can't know Smith's intentions because we can't know the intentions of any individual. Or suppose that one car runs over a child in the road and the driver gets out and appears distraught and says it was an accident. And another car runs over a person in the road, and the person who was hit was the driver's business partner, and the driver will be the beneficiary of a large life insurance policy. It's too bad that the court system draws distinctions between negligent homicide and intentional homicide, because they're not as smart as Deconverted Man. It's too bad that judges and lawyers and legislators across all of human history, well, they don't know that we can't know the intentions of any individual.
Yeah, I know. It's just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not true. We can't know their intention. We can infer it, and that's what the court does. They infer that. It's not knowing. There's a difference there. But, I'm super smart, so, I never claimed to be super smart, but whatever. Thanks for telling me I'm super smart. Yeah, maybe you might learn something. I don't know. just an idea. Yeah, I'm being real jaded and sarcastic. I don't know why. Yeah, all right.
Are particularly egregious sins.
Okay. So if they grew up in a culture that said that sin was, or that slavery was fine, then they'd be okay with slavery. Maybe, yeah. And that would be true.
That's not exactly the argument. The argument is that American culture says that slavery and genocide are particularly bad.
Really? It does? How do you know that? What part of American culture says it? Oh, right. He's just generalizing here. This is a case of him just generalizing. Later on, he'll explain how it's okay to generalize things, And that, okay, maybe I'm being a little picky when I say, I'd like to actually know if this is the case, because I don't know that it is the case that this is widespread. I could say that many Christians are against homosexuality. That might be true, or it might not be true. How many? Well, it's just general. I mean, the Westro Baptist Church, there's a good example. Well, that's one church. The rest of us are fine with it. Well, are you though? How many Christians are against homosexuality? I don't know. Is it a big number? Is it a small number? No idea. Some are. Does that mean all are? No idea. But there are some Christians that are against homosexuality and say it's evil and a sin, and they're really, really super against it. Oh, it's the living style is bad, and it leads to bad things, and whatever. And it's like, why are you emphasizing that? Why is that such a big deal for you? I don't know, but you are. Now, of course, there have been studies that indicate that people that are homophobic tend to actually turn out to be homosexual or have homosexual tendencies themselves. So it might be that the people that are really against homosexuality have those tendencies to some degree, or it could be for other reasons. Who knows? But regardless, yeah, why that? Why are you emphasizing that? What about divorce? Christianity, broadly speaking, has high rates of divorce. So why are you against that? Why aren't Christians speaking out against that all the time? I don't know. No idea. It's just, that's how it is. That's how things are. America has the highest incarceration rate of any country. Just, why aren't Christians up against that? I don't know. They just aren't. So you could ask any question that you want that's open-ended and then say, well, here's the answer. But unless you have something to show that that is the answer, how did you get to that conclusion? But that's logic there, and we're not doing that. So
lots of cultures say that those two things are bad, but American culture says they are particularly bad.
Probably of you as well.
Nobody can know with a high degree of certainty how they would have turned out if they had grown up in a different society. But there's a big difference between me and the two goofballs in the video I was critiquing. I reasoned my way out of the cultural mainstream of my society. I am against the cultural mainstream of my society.
All right. So the cultural mainstream of society, according to you, is highly anti-slavery, which means if you reasoned yourself out of that, then you must be highly pro-slavery, right? No, that's not what you mean. But I'm gonna say that's what you mean, just to irritate you, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but no, it didn't. What you said, I'm being picky here, like you were of me, just to, I'm doing unto others as you did unto me, What you said is, I reasoned my way out of it. Well, yeah, okay. which means it's not impossible to do that, first of all. Secondly, though, you're in a society that permits you to do that. Were you in a society where doing that would lead to your death, you might not have done it. The likelihood of us agreeing with a culture that we're born into, I would dare say it's pretty high, especially if that culture kills descendants. You know, if the cost of going against it is your death or torture or something, jail or whatever, yeah, you might privately hold beliefs, but you're gonna stick your head up and be like, "Hey, this is wrong," and then get killed. You might, but I don't know that I don't know that a lot of people would. And if you look at, because you mentioned the Nazis a lot, if you look at that culture that developed, that whole thing that happened there were not that many people that said, "Hey, this is wrong." They did that in secret because the risk was too high. A few people did, and they paid the price for that. So, but I don't know. It's weird because you're saying on one hand, well, we don't know that people born into a culture wouldn't or would go along with that culture. I reasoned my way out, therefore they could have reasoned their way out. But but if we have no way to know, then how do we know? So which is it? I don't know. Whatever. I'm going back a little bit because I forgot.
My way out of the cultural mainstream of my society.
All right.
I am against the cultural mainstream
you're
of my
pro-slavery.
society.
Got it.
They are with the cultural mainstream of their society.
Well, let's see where your point is.
Of course, you would probably say that slavery and genocide are objectively bad things, and I
don't know if I'd say objectively, but I'd say they certainly are not very pleasant for the people who are being, having that thrust upon them. And societies that practice it don't seem to be very good societies. They don't seem to last that long. They seem to have all sorts of problems, and they eventually change or collapse over time.
They don't last that long. Slave societies existed for much longer than non-slave societies. Also,
yeah, you know what I would love right now? Let's see. Look at that description. Nope, not there. Citation would have been nice. Oh, slave societies last longer than non-slave societies. Really? Do they? I don't know. You said that they do, so I guess you're super smart. It could be I'm wrong. Sure. I don't know. I think that they've collapsed. I mean, are there any slave societies around today? Maybe not. Maybe. How many? Not that many, I would dare say. Could be wrong about that. Don't know. But yeah. Here's another claim that you've made. No support. But that's fine. Whatever. And also a way to kind of miss the point that I'm trying to make. It's like, it seems to me that eventually the society collapses. Now, maybe you're like, well, it doesn't collapse from within. All right. But somebody comes and conquers it. Well, then they still didn't last then, did they? Regardless of what happened. It's like, well, it's an outside force that ended them. Well, okay, but still they got ended. So might have they survived longer? I don't. Are you saying slavery is sustainable and a stable way of doing things? I guess that's what he's trying to say, because my thought process on it is that it doesn't seem to me that it's very stable or sustainable. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it is very sustainable. But the individuals that are being affected certainly are not having a full life and not enjoying things that others have. And that's not good for them. So because I'm empathetic, I see that as being incorrect. And I'm more than happy to be wrong about slavery being sustainable or not. Whatever. The point that I want to make is that there might be sort of an eventual trend towards things that work versus that don't work, but that work for the most amount of people, like sort of like an evolutionary trend of societies. Maybe not. Maybe not. It might be that we wind up in idiocracy. It's possible. But it also might be that we end up, with the maximal amount of freedoms that we could have. Who knows? I would say that if we're going to make broad, sweeping assertions, which I guess we have been, so why not? Plenty of Christians and other religious folks are anti-science and seem to drag society down, not wanting to admit the truth of the age of the earth, biological evolution, etc. And by teaching nonsense, they slow down progress by being anti things like, oh, we're going to be anti stem cell research. That saved lots of lives, helped a lot of people once it was legal, and goodness knows how many more would have been helped if it had been legal sooner. But no, we can't have that because that's bad. Why? Well, because we said it's bad. Oh, okay. Yeah. Society evolves and changes throughout time. And we fight to try to improve it, ideally. But some people don't. Some people fight for what they think is right, what they believe is right, what they've been told by a higher power is right. And because that's static and doesn't change, then if things change without them, they're stuck. The Bible says nothing about microwaves or cars or CO2 emissions or what to do about that. It says to take care of the planet. It also says you have dominion over the planet. So which is it? Well, it's both. It's whichever one you want. And hey, yeah, not a lot of Christians think that global warming is a problem. So there you go, another example, right? And it just says a lot of them. Yeah, because we're allowed to say that now. We can just generalize. I don't have to prove anything. Why not? Whatever. Well, I'd say some Christians. See, that's what I would actually say is some Christians, because I don't know if what the number is. Anyways, back to this, I guess. This is gonna be a 2-part video, I think. Like, I'm like running low on just, I don't know. I just plus now.
If a few battles in the Civil War had gone differently, the Confederacy would have won, and it would have continued to practice slavery for much longer. Probably on that alternate timeline with an independent Confederacy, there would still be slavery in the American South in 2022.
They seem to have all sorts of problems.
Problems according to who? Mauritanians would say that America has all sorts of problems with decadence, cowardice, and promiscuity.
And they eventually change or collapse over time.
No, they don't. And I'm glad he brought this up because I think this is one of the key topics that undergirds a person's overall view of history. Slave regimes did not collapse. Slave regimes were killed off by abolitionist regimes. The abolitionist North invaded the South and ended slavery by force. European colonial empires forcibly abolished slavery in much of the Middle East and in Africa. For a while, Belgium was cheating, and they were pretending to be abolishing slavery while actually purchasing slaves from Muslim slave merchants and forcing them to serve in the Belgian Congo army. But when British abolitionists found out about this, Britain brought international pressure onto Belgium, which forced Belgium to reduce and eventually abandon slavery. That is, Belgium abandoned the use of slavery in its own armies. I believe there are some remote areas of the Congo in which slavery is still practiced.
So it seems that slavery is something that eventually humans recognize is not a sustainable.
Slavery is very sustainable. It lasted for thousands of years. Slavery existed for far longer than, say, democracy has existed.
Way of doing things is, you have a very few people controlling a large amount of people by force. Eventually those large amount of people are going to turn on the ones controlling them. So
That's just not accurate. Historically, that is not what happened. Slave societies were almost never toppled by slave revolts. They were killed off by aggressive outside powers. And
okay, hey, huh? I'm fine with being wrong and learning something new. Now, what I would have liked, it would have been nice to have a few citations to show that that's the case. But to be fair, I didn't cite anything when I was saying stuff, so. Yeah. But I'm not gonna not complain about it. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not sure what this thing with the bees is. I'm not sure what the point of this is. Like, what are we? We're all bees now. Is this the bee movie? What the bleep is going on here? I don't know. Let's find out.
I'm probably belaboring the point, but the reason why Deconverted Man is incorrectly claiming that slavery is unsustainable is because he doesn't want slavery to exist, because he holds the values of the culture in which he grew up. But he doesn't want to say that there is a moral duty to abolish slavery, because if he said that, then he would be admitting that there is such a thing as an objective moral duty, and that's hard to square with his atheist worldview.
Man, I love it when people read my mind. It's fantastic. That's why I was saying that. Man, I didn't know that at the time. Thank you for telling me what my past self was thinking. That's just amazing. What am I thinking right now? No, you can't do it. You can't tell me what. Oh man, but I thought you could read my mind. No, the reason why I said all that is because I thought that's how it works. Maybe I was wrong. Seems like I was. Okay, great. I was wrong. Learned something new. I didn't look into it, and again, it's a live thing. It's off the cuff. I'm not doing thorough research to do all that. Maybe I should. And certainly I could if it but I didn't, and I'm not. So but yeah, I was wrong. Okay. And like, okay. But the reason I said is I thought that was the case. Nothing to do with it's a moral obligation or whatever. Is it a moral obligation? You said that. You said it's a moral obligation to get rid of slavery. Okay. If that's the case, then the atheists that you were picking on in the video who were against slavery, they're right then. Slavery bad. Okay, we all agree. Does it really matter why we all think that? Well, I guess it does to him. It's like, well, you're just saying that because of the culture. Okay. Is it still true? Yes, it's still true. But see, I'm saying it because God said it. Even though I'm not going to show you where in the Bible it says that. It's in there. Just trust me. It's in there. Where does it say that don't do slavery in the Bible? Specifically. It doesn't. It doesn't. Well, now I'm reading his mind, right? Maybe he doesn't know that it doesn't. But spoiler, it doesn't say that. Now it says other things that you can then interpret to mean that slavery is bad, but it doesn't explicitly say slavery. Don't do it. It bad. And you go the Gospels, you talk about the New Testament, you say ignore the Old Testament. I don't know why we would, but okay. But where does Jesus say, hey, remember they had all those rules for slaves back in the day? Yeah, I want you guys to know slavery, bad. Don't do it. It's really wrong. Don't ever have slaves under any conditions. It's horrible. Why didn't Jesus correct it then? Well, because that's, because, I mean, they would figure it out by the vague things that he said about treating each other well or whatever. And no need to be specific. I mean, they'll figure it out. How long did it take people to figure out that slavery was bad again? Oh, yeah, whatever. I don't know if I'd say objectively.
But if there is no moral duty to abolish slavery, then what's going to stop a modern society from starting slavery back up again?
People that don't want slavery. That's it. That's what's going to stop it. It's not about. I mean, you can say moral duty, whatever. I don't know, but the only thing that stops bad from happening is good. People trying to do what's good, and what that means and how that works. Well, that's a whole can of worms, isn't it? And I view it as what benefits the individual maximally and what benefits society maximally. And well, within that, obviously you're going to have cases where something benefits society but doesn't benefit the individual, or vice versa, and you're going to have to make some sort of compromise, and what those compromises are is up for negotiation ideally. Anyways, back to the bees, I guess. Not the bees!
Converted man would definitely not be comfortable with a modern society practicing slavery, and that's why he pretends that slavery is an unsustainable social system. Because if deconverted man doesn't want there to be any slave societies, and he doesn't want to say that there is a moral duty to abolish slavery, then he has to say that slavery is unworkable, that it's an unsustainable social system.
And it's true.
Just to blow him out of the water. Yeah, it's a moral duty to abolish slavery. There, I said it. Now what? And under my ethical system, that would be true. So now what? Now, my ethical system is not divine command theory. So, yeah, I can say it. And what the bleep's your point? Like, I don't know. Whatever.
True that most societies today condemn slavery and genocide, but there are differences of emphasis. Many cultures answer no to the question, is genocide okay? But some cultures emphasize condemnation of genocide, and other cultures emphasize condemnation of other sins. In modern
I don't know why it would matter what is emphasized.
It matters because it means that the emphasis on slavery and genocide is not universal. And if the emphasis on condemning slavery and genocide is not universal, what does that say about atheists who have those moral priorities?
Well, hold on. If it's not universal, then doesn't that mean that different people are different and there isn't a unified thing that we're supposed to all cling to? Well, whatever.
Priorities with special emphasis on condemning slavery and genocide. It shows that those atheists, who call themselves free thinkers, are part of a particular culture, and they have the provincial viewpoint of the time and place in which they live, a viewpoint which is shared by most Christian cultures, but is not shared by other cultures or other time periods. That doesn't necessarily mean they're wrong, but it does call into question their claim that they're free thinkers.
Okay, so you can't go along with society if you're a free thinker? Like, really? What if you think out the ideas of society and you happen to agree with them, but your ability to not have to agree to everything leads you to similar conclusions of that society? No, it can't be that. You weren't freely thinking. You're indoctrinated into the society and you just agree with it blindly. You're not thinking about any of these things. You're not really a free thinker. Gotcha, checkmate. And free thinker is just kind of like one of these labels that sometimes we use, or sometimes some atheists or skeptics or whoever uses. To be free thinking is essentially, well, to not be held down by any ideology, any written words, any society for that matter. You work it through for yourself. You say, okay, what do I think about slavery? Forget about what my culture thinks. What do I think? Why do I think this? And is it impossible to separate myself from society? Well, you said that you did. You said you went against your culture. So obviously, then, if that's true, it's not impossible for me to be contrary to the culture that I'm in. So I think about it and I go, okay, well, let me work this out. Would I want to be a slave? No, I wouldn't want to be a slave. Okay. So would I want to own a slave? No, I wouldn't want to do that because I wouldn't want to be the person that's a slave. And I don't want to put onto somebody else what I don't want for me, because that, that's just not right for them. That's not right. I'm just like, it doesn't, whether it feels right or, maybe there's a more logical process there or whatever. But yes, you can think through all sorts of things, and it might be in the end you've come to the same conclusions that your society currently holds. But you're looking at it and saying, no, you can't really be a free thinker because it happens to be that you agree, broadly speaking, with society. So that means you're not a free thinker. No, because it's possible that they're a free thinker and they agree with society. It's called a false dichotomy. Anyways. Let's see. Murder, yeah. Theft, bad. Yeah. Slavery is bad. Cowardice, I don't know about that being bad. Is cowardice a sin? Genocide, okay, yeah, that's bad. Envy, I don't really see envy as being that bad of a thing necessarily. Promiscuity depends on how that works out. Treason, yeah, I think that could be pretty bad. Sloth, I don't really see what's really wrong with that.
Christianity teaches the infinite value of the lowliest person's life and that the last shall come first in heaven. And it's a short step from there to an extreme concern, I would say.
All right, well, you say Christianity teaches, but there's no way that you could possibly hope to demonstrate that, because to say that all of Christianity does that, well, you're going to need some major research to back that assertion up. So yeah, this is an example of me being really picky, like he was being really picky on me earlier when I didn't like it. It's okay when I do it, though. It's fine. It's fine when I'm picky. It's not okay when anyone else is picky. So, it's not impossible to make a general inference, okay? That's not what I'm trying to get at. It's better when you have, the studies and data and all that. You don't have to have that. It's just, it's a high standard that I hold. Ideally, you should have something that shows this. But all right, fair enough. We'll skip this because yeah, okay, I can see that I need to reword things maybe. So yeah, okay. I'm slightly wrong on that. All right, skipping it. Yeah.
It's not just in the Bible, it's in the gospel, and specifically it's in the words attributed to Jesus.
It's not just in the Bible, it's also in the gospel. Okay. So I said, it's not just in the Bible, it's in the gospel. That's part of the Bible. It's not just in the Bible, it's in the gospel. Wow, that's in the Bible. It's the gospel a different part of the Bible thing? It's not just in the Bible, it's also in the gospel. Yeah. Is the gospel separate from the Bible then? Like, I thought you guys had one book, not two. Mormons have two books. You guys have one, right? No, we have the Bible and the Gospel. Okay, anyway. All right.
And deconverted man, if you disagree that the last shall come first is a Christian teaching, then find me the quotation from Jesus that describes someone as a genetically inferior subhuman.
It's not my burden of proof. Nope, the burden of proof is whoa, sneezing. The burden of proof is upon you to show me where it says don't do slavery. Yeah, okay, it says the last shall come first. Whatever that means. You can interpret that to mean all sorts of things if you want. Okay. But that doesn't say slavery bad, does it? No, it's not specific. It's not direct. It's something that you have to then infer something about. So, no, it's not up to me to show you this, that, or the other thing. It's up to you to show me where in the Bible, or show anyone else, where in the Bible it says slavery equal bad. It's not in there. So why do you think it's bad? Oh, because this passage says that. Okay, how do you get from that passage to slavery bad? Because it doesn't say it in the Bible outright. So where are you getting the idea then? Other than inference and extrapolation. Perhaps it is that you have been in this society that says slavery bad, so you recognize slavery bad, and you go, well, the Bible says slavery bad, even though it doesn't, so therefore the Bible right. Okay, yeah, that's how that works. Wait, that would just mean you're doing the same thing you're accusing me of doing. Oh, that can't be it. No.
Or find me the quote from Jesus where he sounds like Ayn Rand and he talks about how the great must not be constrained by the small and how great kings and warriors must not be held back by the mewling peasants with their endlessly hungry mouths. I'd be very interested to see that passage. I'm waiting. Please send it to me.
Different. It's in the lost. It's in the lost chapter here that I found in a cave. An angel appeared to me and led me to the cave, and they were silver plates, and I had to translate. Oh wait, no, that you're not you don't believe that? Oh, come on. No, really, it happened. Okay, anyways. No, it's not my burden. It's your burden to show that the Bible says that slavery bad. You haven't done that. So, yeah, still waiting for that. Not going to happen. Okay, yeah. Stop switching the burden of proof. Yeah. Things are emphasized in different churches. Different things are taught by different churches.
Yeah, but overall, there are patterns.
Now consider atheism. There were some people in the 1940s in Germany.
All right, but they weren't using evolution. They were using eugenics.
Not evolution. They were using eugenics. So when a farmer has cows that produce slightly more milk, and he breeds them in order to produce more cows that produce slightly more milk, is this evolution or eugenics?
Okay, so we were talking about the society of the Nazis, right? And your thing was like, oh, they're using evolution to decide how to treat people. And I said, no, they're using eugenics to decide how to treat people, not other things. They decide. Ah, jeez. Oh, but it's the same thing. The two are the same. They used it. No, they didn't. They didn't use it. Oh, jeez. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Just be wrong. I don't even know that I need to comment on how wrong this is. Just let me know in the comments how wrong this guy is or something. Or explain it in chat and I'll put it on the screen or something. Whatever. Using evolution, they were using eugenics.
Not evolution. They were using eugenics. So when a farmer has cows that produce slightly more milk, and he breeds them in order to produce more cows that produce slightly more milk, is this evolution or eugenics? When humans created dogs and different breeds of dogs by selecting for certain traits over tens of thousands of years, starting when humans were just barely humans themselves, is that evolution or eugenics? When parents choose to invest their resources in their own child, not in some foreign stranger child, Is that evolution or eugenics? All sexual attraction is attraction to a desire to breed with members of one species who seem strong, healthy, intelligent, competent. Is that evolution or eugenics?
Right, that last part's not quite right that you said there about like all attraction is to breed with people. That's not quite true because homosexuals exist. They can't breed, so that's wrong. But whatever. Yeah, all that's evolution, I guess. But yeah, that the eugenic part is whatever. Screw it. You know. Come on, people. Yeah, super wrong. Thank you. Yes, super wrong. We know that, but he doesn't know that. I guess I don't know.
Evolution created us with eugenic impulses like sexual attraction because creatures that act in eugenic ways will be selected for. That is, they will on average have more fit offspring and a better chance of passing on their genes.
That's not what I meant by whatever. So they applied a thing of eugenics in a weird way. Like they're like, we're going to specifically pick this trait, and we to this ideal that we hold of the the tall white male thing, whatever it was they were going for. I don't know what Hitler was thinking. The superior man, and so they were gonna select for those traits. They were gonna breed humans, and that's the way that we breed other animals. There's a difference there. That's applying a system that isn't natural to humans. Now, we do apply that system to other animals. So you may say, well, why don't we apply it to humans? Well, if they were successful in creating a master race, well, they didn't think that through because their master race would have been very susceptible to viruses. Coronavirus might have wiped them all out, for example, because you need genetic diversity to continue on. So you see that in some breeds that we've created, and heck, the banana is a problem. Like that could go extinct very easily because of how it's basically a clone of itself now, and you can't just plant it anymore. There's a whole process or whatever. So it can go wrong. And when you apply it to people, it can go wrong very quickly. They weren't successful in doing it. And the other part was they were going to kill off the undesirables, which is what the eugenics parts mean. But I don't know. It just seemed like you were against evolution. Like, oh, they used evolution or whatever on people. It's like, I guess if you want to see it that way, whatever. Doesn't make evolution false. Just means it's probably a bad idea to apply it in the way that they applied it. And you might say, well, why is it a bad idea? Well, I mean, the result wasn't very good. It wasn't good for the people who died, certainly. And it's not good for the people that would have been genetically non-diverse. So it wasn't well thought through. That doesn't matter. Yeah. This is just poisoning of the well. So it's like, oh, look, these people were atheists, and then they did bad stuff. Therefore, atheism bad.
That's not the argument. The point is that there's a certain kind of person who usually lives in the West and describes themselves as a skeptical atheist. We've all met this kind of person. Deconverted man, you are an example of this type of person. And when you meet this kind of person, you notice that almost all of them have almost exactly the same moral values as each other. So why is that? Why do almost all of them have almost exactly the same values? Are these just the correct values, the values that any intelligent person would come to? Well, no, because we can look around the world and we see that there are other cultures which don't have the same values. Okay, So could it be that the values which modern atheists hold are logically related to atheism in some way? Could that be why almost all skeptical atheists hold almost exactly the same values? No, that can't be it either, because we can look back in history and we see that there have been cultural movements led by atheists which held wildly different moral values from the skeptical atheists of today. That's the point of the Nazi example. The argument for which the Nazi example is relevant is, one, if skeptical atheists were free thinkers, either there would be a great diversity of moral opinion among skeptical atheists, or skeptical atheists would agree on a set of moral values which were derivable in some way from atheism.
Okay, and this is where I'd stop the video before I started doing my live video here. Oh, man. So I did a video a while back that I deleted. I yeeted it off my channel because it was just, I was like, forget it. I trying to make a point, trying to ask a question, and yeah. So the question I wanted to ask, still would like an answer to, is there seems to be a trend, or I thought that there was a trend, or it seemed to be a thing to some extent, and how big it was, I don't know, where parents were exposing their children to, what do you call it? Men who dress as women. Can't think of the term now. And I was like, why? Why is this a thing? Like, drag queen. There we go. Thank you. Drag queen, I thought, was for adults. I thought it was like an adult entertainment thing. It wasn't meant for kids to enjoy or watch or know anything about. Like, you know, it's a grown-up thing. But then there's been kids that have been drag queens. And it's like, okay, why? Is there some sort of benefit to this that I'm unaware of? I don't, it's like, is it educational? Like, I don't know. And somehow, in some level, it got conflated with LGBT stuff, which I don't know how that has anything to do with anything. Like, men dressing as women, I don't know that that's LGBT. It's just like it's its own thing. Maybe a lot of drag queens are gay. I don't know. And so I wanted to ask that question, like, why is this? I don't understand, because I view that as potentially wrong to expose kids to something that might be adult in nature. And there's disagreement there. Other people see that as being perfectly acceptable to expose kids to drag queens. They're like, there's nothing wrong with it, deconverted man. You don't understand. Why do you think it's wrong? Who are you to say it's wrong? It's like, I don't know. I just thought I was wrong. I don't know. I don't even know why I think it's wrong. I don't know. Tell me, what am I missing? What am I, It's like, well, the video that I did, that video was fake. Is it? I don't know. You'd have to do a lot to prove it's fake to me, but whatever. It's like, people have different opinions. I know somebody who is a Republican atheist. I'm not going to name names. Now, I'm somewhere in the middle politically because I view that there's too much nuance. I hate the left-right thing. I think it's a bad thing for all of America, but whatever. That's what we have. That's the system we have. So, that's the point is we don't all have the same values. Now, maybe it's the case that we share similar values. And you say, well, over here, these people that were atheists, they had a different value. Okay, sure. So you can't derive it from atheism. Okay, fair enough. Because you can't derive anything from atheism, because atheism is not a worldview. It's part of a worldview, but it is not the sum total of your worldview, nor is theism. You have to add more to get it to be a worldview. Okay. Christians in the past did the Crusades, right? Well, you don't agree with those Christians, but if Christians were Christian, then there wouldn't be a great diversity of moral opinions among Christians, or Christians would agree on a set of moral values which is derivable in some way from Christianity. Yet you had this group of Christians who did the Crusades. Well, how did they go wrong? What about the Christians that were pro-slavery? How did they go wrong? Well, I mean, that was a small subset of Christians. Just like the atheists that did the bad stuff were a small set of atheists. Oh, right. Well, it's different because why? Why is it different? Why? How is it different? Because you want to say Christianity will get you to a set of values that the majority holds, right? Or is that what you want to say? I'm guessing that's what you want to say, right? Yeah, well, the small set of Christians that did the bad stuff, whatever. And I'm saying, yeah, same thing for atheists. Yeah, but your values come from the society you're in. So do yours. Well, but ours are from Christianity. Where's yours from? Zoroastrianism. I don't know. Mine are from ethics that I understand. That's where my values are from. Because I thought through them. I didn't just blindly look at what a book said and follow that book. I did for a long period of my life, but then I looked into if the book was true, and it wasn't, so I stopped doing that. I mean, just, I don't know. Okay.
2, there is not much diversity of moral opinion among skeptical atheists. 3, if the set of moral values which today's skeptical atheists agree on were derivable in some way from atheism, then atheists elsewhere in the world and in other historical eras would have held approximately the same set of moral values. 4, but it is not the case that atheists in other historical eras held approximately the same set of values as today's so-called skeptical atheists.
And I could say exactly the same thing about Christianity. There was Christians in the past that did all sorts of atrocities. Look at what they did to Mexico. Oh, those are Catholics, right? So the Catholics and the Protestants, they had different values. Christian Crusades, oh, that doesn't count. Spanish Inquisition, doesn't count. Slavery in the South, promoted by Christians, doesn't count. What does count? Whatever you want to count? Is that it? Is that how that works? Because you're not looking at your own system. Now, atheism, as I said, you can't derive anything from it. You're right. You cannot derive anything from atheism because it's not a worldview. It doesn't tell you how to get anything. It just means I don't believe in God / there is no God. Either of those, you're an atheist. That's it. So you're right. None of it is derived from atheism. Absolutely correct. Contrast to Christianity, which if we switched atheist here with Christianity and said the same thing as you're saying about Christianity, we could make the same points and say, look, in the past, Christians did these bad things. So obviously, you can't say that they're deriving their values from Christianity. So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Or don't. Oh wait. What is it? Don't boil goats in mother's milk. Oh, that's the Old Testament. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Where did Jesus? Didn't Jesus say not to wash the hands? I hope we get to that part. Yeah, because I made fun of the New Testament because he said people didn't do that enough, so I did. I don't know. We don't have that long more of this video to go, so let's try to get through it.
Instead, we see that prominent atheists and prominent atheist-led cultural movements in the past held moral values which are radically at odds with the moral values of today's skeptical atheists. It's also worth noting that the moral values of the skeptical atheists are exactly the same moral values which are pushed by the cultural mainstream of the time and place in which these self-described skeptical atheists live.
Not always. Again, depends on the atheist, but I guess you're trying to, broad brush stroke here. But your conclusion doesn't follow. Skeptical atheists are not free thinkers. Again, you're really on this rant about free thinker. What was this? Okay, so free thinker, free thinking. There isn't that. It's just terms of unearned vanity. Yeah, I can see that because it's just a label that some people use. Like, that's it. It's just like a phrase. It's not. It doesn't like. Doesn't necessarily. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Even if you're right, it doesn't really matter to me. But this argument isn't even an argument. Not even a little. Like, nothing follows from these premises. And also a reductio ad absurdum where we just replace it with Christianity means, you're not a free thinker either, but Christians don't claim to be free thinkers, so that's fine. Whatever. I don't know what your point is.
Conclusion, therefore, skeptical atheists are not really free thinkers. And the delicious irony of this is that not only are the skeptical atheists' moral values the same moral values which are pushed by Hollywood, the newspapers, the universities, the government, and the rest of the cultural mainstream of the time and place in which these self-described skeptical atheists live, they also are the same moral values that are espoused by the religion, which was historically dominant in the cultures in which the skeptical atheists live.
Don't know if that's true, but let's try to unpack that a bit here. Hollywood is primarily left wing. There's some conservatives, but broadly speaking, it's you could categorize it as such, and some people have, because the creative types, for whatever reason, are more left-leaning than non-creative types, I guess. I don't know. I was in drama, and part of drama is being willing to do things like kiss people that you don't know, maybe be naked on stage. Things that, if you were conservative, you might have a problem with. I remember, it's kind of a personal example, but I remember I had to do a play where I had to say, God damn it. And I was like, how can I do that? I'm a Christian. Like, I don't. And so I prayed about it and thought, I was like, well, if I say sorry afterwards, like, or I tell God beforehand, then God's going to be okay with it, right? Like, I rationalized being able to say it. And so then I did. Then I forgot about it being a problem. Like, I probably didn't pray every time before and after. So, if Hollywood, I don't know what that had to do with anything. If Hollywood has, is pushing forward whatever the idea is, we're just going along with that. It might be that the people there are also atheists. So it's coming from the atheists then. We're just following other atheists. Well, then you're not a free thinker because you're just going along with what they're saying. Like, yeah. But here's the thing. They're promoting whatever. Gay is okay. Like, homosexuality, no problem with that. Let's show people kissing other people. We don't care. Buzz Lightyear, there's an example. Okay. The Buzz Lightyear picture is a perfect example. There was a brief, second of two women kissing. oh no, and people like freaked out about it. Some places banned the movie, and it's just ridiculous. And some Christians were like, oh no, this is horrible, don't do this, what think about the kids, what about the children, and the rest of us are like, yeah, that's fine, we don't care, I don't care, it doesn't bother me. Would have been funnier if Buzz had met somebody named Woody and kissed him. Or maybe it was because Buzz got a Woody after watching the girls kiss. That's the real problem. Anyways, yeah, but sequel of Buzz Lightyear's, he goes back in time and he meets Woody. Anyways, goes back, finds a dinosaur. Yeah. I don't know, goes into a parallel dimension where potatoes are sentient, and then you can have Toy Story be in reality. I don't know. Anyways, I should have ended it. I should have ended the stream before I got to insanity. So, if we're promoting homosexuality, which some Christians are against, I would dare say. So, are you against homosexuality? I don't know. I don't know if you are or aren't, but if we are promoting that as a society, and that's not something that you want us to promote, then where did we get that idea from? Because it couldn't be Christianity. And you say, well, you're just going along with it, so you're not a free thinker. It's like, no, I thought that through, so I am a free thinker. Not that that really matters. I don't really care. But where did it come from then? The devil, that's where it came from. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, all right, almost done. It'd be ridiculous for me to make this a two-parter, so let's just, yeah.
Now, Deconverted Man is going to say that I'm going beyond the evidence, but let's be serious about this. Is it just a big coincidence that the morals of skeptical atheists just so happen to be the same as the morals pushed by all the authority figures in mainstream American culture?
It could be, but I don't know that we all agree on those things that are pushed by mainstream culture. But it also could be that we are winding up in places that push those things in mainstream culture. So we are pushing our own ideas and that we already agree with. And Christianity is like, well, no, but gay people shouldn't marry, and they're getting left behind as the rest of society progresses without them. Sucks to be them. I don't know. What's your point?
Which just so happen to be the same as the morals espoused by Christianity? No, of course that's not a coincidence. Another reason to look at the Nazi example is...
Whoa, what happened there? You got all echoey. But no, not all the values that are being pushed are Christian values. Again, is gay marriage Christian value? Dare say it's not. Is Roe versus Wade, that got overturned lately. Abortion, totally fine with it. I hate it that it's a thing, but it's a thing, and I'm okay with it because, like, well, it's a complicated subject that would take like another hour to unpack, but I'm fine with it. I think that those that advocate against it, put your money where your mouth is. Let's do some research into artificial wombs and ways of safely transferring a fetus. Because if the whole point is like the life in them is so valuable and they don't want that life in them, then we've got to come up with a way to take that life out of them, put it somewhere else so that it can, be alive. But that's like, ooh, that's not God's plan. That's sci-fi. Can't do that or whatever. I'm sure somebody would have some problem with it, But why not do that? It's like, well, stop having sex. People like to have sex. Okay, fine. Let's put your money into funding research for ways that we can turn on and off our reproductive system. How about that? Or how about we don't teach abstinence only because that doesn't work. We teach about sex. Oh, well, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to teach our kids about sex. That's bad. Why? So those are not Christian values, right? Or are they? I don't know. So, I don't know.
Is that the West is currently becoming more atheist and less Christian? And if we want to know what kind of morals an atheist society would hold, we can get some insight by looking at past atheist-led cultural movements. I'm not
No, you can't.
saying that a future atheist society would be exactly like past atheist-led cultural movements, but looking at history is one line of evidence. There might not be any system of objective ethics that is derivable from an atheist position.
I agree. There isn't. Because it's any ethical system except for DCT. You can't have DCT as an atheist because divine command theory requires a divine, and that's like the one thing that you can't have as an atheist is divine, being God, usually. Well, unless you thought divine was something else, but yeah. Let's see. There's a tendency to confuse the promotion of tolerance and freedom with the promotion of things that people do that ought to be tolerated so we can all be free. Yeah. I think that's true. I agree with that idea. It seems like that's what he's doing here, because at the one hand, he's saying like, you all are in line with each other and you're but look to the past. What if atheists do what they did in the past? Look at the Muslims, for example. Look at what they're doing right now, today, where they make their women just have insane clothing on them. Just like you can only see their eyeballs. It's stupid. And there is a difference. If somebody wanted to do that, fine. But they are forced to do it. They have to do it. And so that's what the difference is. In the West, you can dress that way if you want to. You can choose to do it or not do it. In the Muslim country, depending on where you are, obviously, but you can't choose to not do it. You have to do it or else. So we know what that looks like. And we know what it's like when Christianity or other religions gain a lot of power. The oppression of rights and freedom and people being able to be other things that aren't Christian, all of that gets suppressed. We know that from the past. So how do we know going forward that it's not going to be that again? We already see there was like, well, I forget what state it was, but like they allowed somebody to pray in the school as a teacher, and it's like, no, keep that out of school. It's a waste of time for that person to pray. And if they want to pray, do it not in front of the kids, on your own time. That, in the break room, fine, who cares, whatever, put the mat down, face the right way, whatever, okay, you're on your break, it doesn't matter. But not when you're, because, it's like, well, we just want it for the Christians. We don't want the Muslims to pray. We don't want the Satanists to pray. We don't want, the lobsterists to pray. Because and then what's going to happen? You will say, well, just Christians. Okay, so only tolerance for Christian prayer. And then you go, well, the thing is, I don't like that you prayed in that way. It needs to be this way. It shouldn't be our Father who are in heaven. It should be our Father who art in heaven. Oh, well, no, and then, So you're going to have problems. But that intolerance for anybody except for what we are, that happens in Christianity and other religions as well. Not all religions, but many. It's just us, everyone else, no. That happens. In the past, it's happened. So how do we know that it won't happen in the future? We don't. But what we can do is say, maybe we should question these things. That's what it means, broadly speaking, to be open-minded, is to be willing and able to question what you hold most dear, in this case, God or morals or ethics or anything else. But you're not doing that. And you're not doing the thing that I wanted you to do, which is tell me where in the Bible it says slavery is wrong. Anyways, whatever,
But Different moral worldviews may be more or less psychologically satisfying in light of an atheist position. And so there will be some moral worldviews which are especially psychologically compatible with atheism, even if there is no moral worldview which can be derived from atheism by pure logic. We should.
That actually, yeah, it might be the case. So then why would that be though? So psychologically, it's satisfying to derive certain values as an atheist, but not as a Christian, because you're told to deny certain things. Don't do this. Don't have. Don't put it in the butt. Don't put your wiener in the butt. That's bad. Well, that's in the Old Testament. Jesus didn't say where to put your wiener, so I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a big tangent to go on. That's what she said. Oh, wait.
Expect that as a society becomes more atheist, it will move toward moral worldviews that are more psychologically compatible with atheism, and away from moral worldviews that are less psychologically compatible with atheism. The Nazis thought that their moral worldview was psychologically compatible with atheism. Deconverted Man says that he has a good argument against the Nazis' argument. If Deconverted Man has an argument like that, let's hear it.
I don't remember saying that, but okay. All right. The Jewish people didn't do anything to deserve death. And whatever ideas they might have had that would have enhanced the lives of us as a whole were destroyed by those that had the power to do so. And maybe some of those thoughts would have been bad. I don't know. We never got to see that. That's not good for them. And I have empathy. I feel their sorrow, their pain. I can put myself in their shoes, being dragged to a prison and waiting to find out if I'm going to die or not. For every moment that I'm waiting, at least I'm alive. And I see somebody a little bit braver than myself run out to try to escape and get shot. And I think, well, I don't want to die right now. So I wait. Eventually they come. They put me in a truck. I don't know where the truck is taking me. But then I arrive at a building. And I know this is it. But I go along because I saw somebody else run off and get shot. Now I want to live for a little bit longer. And I get put in this room with everyone else. And they close the door. And I know that the door is sealed and we can't get out. I hear people praying around me, crying, some laughing in hysteria. Maybe somebody's pounding on the door. And I think maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe they won't do it. Maybe I can hold my breath. And up until the moment I die, I'm hoping that they won't kill me. That I'll be able to survive somehow. Or that I will somehow be saved. I think about my friends and family, and then life is extinguished. And that is terrible, horrible fate. And that is wrong. It's wrong on every conceivable level because nobody deserves that. No one deserves that. You do not win the argument by killing your opponent. Their ideas, you silence them, but that didn't make you right. And who are you, anyways? How do you know that you're not the next one in the chamber? You don't know that. They could just as easily turn on you next. It is vile, disdainful, despicable way to extinguish life without any coherent. There is no reason. I'm against the death penalty. I'm against that. You know, well, what about abortion? It's a different thing. It's a whole nother topic. Ideally, I would want it not to be a thing, but we need the technology, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Plus, it's a far cry from what happened there. What they did is wrong from an empathetic point of view, from empathy alone. From a logical standpoint, it doesn't make sense because you're getting rid of genetic diversity, which you need to have a thriving society. So there, it's wrong there. So there's nothing right about it. And where in the Bible does it say not to do what they did? They had belt buckles that said God with us. They really thought God was with them. And you want to say they're atheists? No. They were Christians and Catholics, so no, they weren't atheists. But even if some were, they were still wrong. The barbarism, backwardsness of many religions can lead to atrocity. And so can forcing your ideas upon others. Those select countries that you can say, well, Pol Pot or whoever forced atheism upon people. That's wrong too. People must be free to think things that are wrong or untrue. Because we can't learn unless we're able to think. We can't progress unless we have something to progress from and into and away from. And goodness knows what the future's going to look like. Maybe we'll have some sort of society where being nude is absolutely normal. Bathrooms are shared. Showers are shared. Nobody cares about that. Sometimes people have sex in public and whoever with they want. Get married to whoever you want as long as they want to marry you. I don't know. Maybe we'll have implants that are technological that let us do things that we can only dream about. We'll have one in the forehead, definitely, that lets us pay for things. In fact, I think, yeah, we should make it a law. Everyone has to have this in their forehead or maybe in their wrist. And it would like have a number. And if you didn't have that number, you couldn't get food. Yeah, that's what we should do. No, we shouldn't force that. But it should be an option. If people want that, they can have it. If they don't want it, then they don't need it. Maybe we'll get to a point where we conquer death. Wouldn't that be something? What would that look like? Where you don't have to die unless you want to? At least from old age. Maybe we'll conquer all death. Maybe we'll spread to the stars. I don't know. But the Bible is going to become more and more irrelevant as we do that. Because the Bible says nothing about outer space. As we evolve, and we will evolve, if we move permanently to a different planet, humanity will evolve. Homo sapiens won't be a thing anymore, given a few thousand years. we will go extinct eventually. The Homo sapien will be no more. It will be something else. I don't know what the bleep they'll call it. Maybe we'll figure out how to stop the heat death of the universe, or maybe the heat death of the universe isn't a thing. Maybe we'll create new stars. Maybe we'll make our own universes or make virtual worlds that are close enough. Maybe any number of things. I don't know. But Christianity is going to become more and more irrelevant the longer humanity progresses ahead, because your book is static. It doesn't change. It doesn't update. You are stuck thinking X, Y, and Z is wrong because God said it. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Maybe XYZ is wrong. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's explore that. Let's examine that. Let's really think about that, shall we? Your system is one on authority. Might makes right. The one that made the universe is unquestionable. No, they're not. I don't care what they did or how much power they have. Everyone is questionable. Everyone. Your God is not a God of logic and reason, because the God of logic and reason would never set up a system where it's hidden from people that it wants to have a relationship with. Okay, I'm off the topic of the Nazis, but I digress. I guess it got me going. What do our or anyone's arguments have to do with Dystopia's burden of proof to demonstrate via evidence his set Pacific worldview is what he claims it to be? Oh, yes, he said that on his video, and he said, oh, that whole thing has nothing to do with my video. Yeah, well, no, it kind of does, because you want us to think we're wrong. And hey, in this video, I was able to admit that I was wrong about this and that and whatever. Can you admit that you're wrong about anything at all, ever? I don't know. Maybe you can. Can you admit maybe your view of atheism is tarnished by your worldview of Christianity? I wonder. Anyways, thanks for letting me rant about Nazis and why that's wrong. Just to recap, I had to explain why Nazis are wrong to a Christian. All right, back to the video. They're going to hell, right?
He seems to think I'm a Christian. I'm not.
These two goofballs.
Well, what the hell are you then? If you're not a Christian, what are you? See, I don't know. Tell me what you are. Maybe it says on his about page. No, it doesn't. All right, well, I don't know what you are. I know you're wrong, but I don't know what you are then. Yeah, whatever.
Think they're atheists, but they are.
Well, if they think that they're atheists, then they are.
Then he does this again.
Really unwitting Christians.
No, they're not. Now you're reading into their brains, which is not possible to do.
I don't know where he's getting this from. Deconverted Man, if you make a response to this, I'd be interested to know where you're getting this idea from. The idea that you can't know anything about another person's mind or brain.
Well, you cannot know what I'm thinking right now. What am I thinking right now? Were you able to know in that moment that I was silent? I was thinking stuff. Do you know what I was thinking? No? Okay. All right, that's what I mean by that. I know it's hard to understand. You can't read my mind. You can guess. You can maybe infer things, possibly, maybe. But that's all it is guesswork at best. Now, if you have examples and data, well, then that's things outside of my mind that then you're doing to infer what I might have been thinking or feeling or my intent at the time. But you can only do that when you have enough data. Okay, that's where I get the idea from. this thing called reality. Now, you said you're not a Christian. Don't know what you are then. Maybe you could tell us what you believe in. Because, I mean, you're talking about Christianity all this time. Like, why the bleep are you defending it? It's good. I'm confused now. What are you then? I mean, like, you were like, the Gospels. Like, why do you care? What's going on? Where am I? That's how it works. Yeah. If I can't make an argument, then you're right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. It's impossible to know what someone is in someone else's mind. Yeah, I'm gonna stand by that. I'm gonna stand by that statement because it's impossible to know what's in somebody else's mind. Like, period. End of story. You can't do that unless you can mind read, or you have like some machine that could do it. Like, I guess that might be possible one day. I don't think we have it now, but yeah, unless you can tell me, I'll pick a number from 1 to 10. What number am I thinking of? Did you get it? Write it in the comments. Write it in chat. What number was I thinking of? A few people will get it right. Yeah. Okay, wait. I'll do one for my viewers. Okay. What word am I gonna write in the comment section and pin as a comment? Come on, guys. Come on, girls. Come on, robots. I know you can do it. What word would Deconverted Man write? Come on. You can do it. I'll even give you a hint. Starts with L. All right. We'll see if my viewers can guess what word I might write in the comments. They'll all be mind readers. Oh, man. Where do I get the idea that you can't read other people's minds? I don't know. For the fact that you can't read other people's minds. You're silly.
And it's not just him. I've seen this in quite a few people. People who seem to think that the normal rules of inference somehow don't apply to inferences about people.
These are people who have grown up in a Christian culture, and they have imbibed.
Deconverted Man disputes the claim that America is a Christian culture. When I say America is a Christian culture, I mean that America has historically been a Christian country, and most Americans are self-described Christians. Turkey has historically been a...
Let's find out. How many Americans are Christian? Let's see. All right. Okay, so let's see. According to 2018-2019 Pew Research, there's about 65% Christianity in America. All right. So it's still the majority, but not much. It's not looking good. But I guess you're talking about the past, right? So, yeah. But whatever. I'm going to just mention the Zoroastrian thing and all that. So, wait, I don't think he's going to get to the part where I made fun of the New Testament. Man.
Muslim country, and most Turks are self-described Muslims. America, Mexico, Brazil, Poland, and Hungary are Christian cultures. Turkey, Persia, Egypt, and Yemen are Muslim cultures. After that, I'm not sure if he was being serious, but I think he asked for evidence that there has historically been a dominant Christian majority in America. So here's the evidence. This is from Gallup, showing church membership among adults going back to 1940. It was
he did it.
Stable at around 70% up until 2000 and has been declining since.
Hey, well done. Thank you. Good job. You did it. You did the thing. It wasn't that hard to do. He did it. Hallelujah. He did it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you. That's it. That's all you needed to do. Yeah, good enough. But I don't, well, what you mean by, so, yeah, okay, whatever.
Since then, this question is reported here as, are you a member of a church, mosque, or synagogue? But the question used to be just church. I don't know exactly when they changed it, but I have data here on religious denominations showing in 1948, 69% Protestant, 22% Catholic, and 4% Jewish. And it certainly would have been less than 1% of any other religion at that time. And then as recently as 2004, 50% Protestant, 24% Catholic.
Because I could accuse you. I could say, hey, You know what? Good job. So, yeah, Christianity has been prominent in America for quite some time. Now, are we a culture of Christianity?